Without further ado, let's look at the first case. Okay, the first case is this incredibly interesting story that brings us back to 1978. Now, let me picture this for you. 1978, Cold War is in full force. There's the Soviet Union, and then we have this young man, Alan Wee, who joined the Singapore Foreign Service in 1967. And in 1978, he's posted to Moscow to work in the Singapore Embassy in the Soviet Union. And he goes there with his wife and his daughter, and they stay in an apartment that was formerly occupied by someone who had just left the Singapore Embassy. Now, Alan Wee was all of 28 at that time. He's a cipher engineer. What does that mean? He's a cipher officer. He's in charge of maintaining the cipher machines that allow us to decode and encode messages that we send from Russia to Singapore with our own encoding. So it's top secret kind of stuff. Here's the thing. He stays in this apartment, which is formerly occupied by an ex-employee. One day, he gets a call in this apartment from a lady called Luba. And Luba says, "Oh, I'm a friend of the former occupant. Is he around? Oh, he's not around. Well, let's be friends." So he arranged for them to go to a restaurant near the embassy called Labyrinth, where they went, they had dinner. Bear in mind, by the way, he's married with a kid at this point in time, and they're both with him in Moscow. He says, I got to go somewhere and, do some meeting. He goes and meets this lady, has dinner. They go to a bar, they go drinking, and they go dancing. And then she takes him to her apartment where they talk and they drink some more. And later they go to bed. So now we have the beginnings of a classic honeypot trap.
For the audience, what
Yes.
is a honeypot trap?
Okay, well, honeypot trap is, how do I put it delicately, is when a rival intelligence, a rival spy, uses his or her charms and wiles to...
I could do that.
No, you couldn't do that. I couldn't do that.
I have charms.
Well, okay, let me read to you, okay? Let me read to you why we can't do that. And this is from an American senator called James Patterson. And he's saying this. Senator James Patterson recently commented in relation to China setting, honey traps, not honeypot, honey traps on social media platforms to ensnare potentially useful targets. He says, if you're a 6 and she's a 10, it might not be your looks that they've been charmed by. So yeah, thank you, Senator Patterson. That's very helpful. Now, we always talk about, the people we talk about on the show are real life people, right? So we don't really want to embarrass them. But if you take a look at some of the photos from the press reports in 1980, because it's when he got caught. Cannot lie. He's not a 10. He's a 5 on a good day. He's 4 maybe, So you have to understand.
So he was flattered.
He was flattered, but I think here's the thing, look. If you know that you have this very, very sensitive job in the embassy, surely you would know this can't be so simple, can't be so easy.
I think in the case of a hot-blooded male, it probably was so simple and it was so easy. And that's why I think we have to be held to that sort of standard, right? Even if you feel flattered and...
Well, I will say that if Alan Wee had been held to that standard, right, we wouldn't have this podcast today. Let me keep going. So what happens that right after that, so she met him again, we're talking about Luba. She's got this wonderful name, this Russian KGB agent that successfully honey-trapped our dear Mr. Alan. Her name was Luba Lubov Maluba.
I'm actually keying that into my browser now, and Microsoft tells me that it's been filtered out due to adult content.
Let me keep going, okay? So Luba met Alan again on several occasions and they made love. She gave him, I don't just make love, they had sex. She gave him her telephone number and address so that he could continue to meet her, okay? A year after that, about a year, which is quite amazing how long they kept it going, because I think maybe the reason was to just get enough photos, pictures to compromise his position. Later, she threatened to tell his wife about their relationship and harm her if he did not cooperate with her and give her the program which could decode all messages passed through the cipher machines. Ooh. So now he's in trouble.
There's a rock and a hard place.
I think the hard place was what got him to the rock in the first place, but never mind. So we took 3 weeks to do this and gave her the program to her in September of 1979. And he did not report this to the Singapore ambassador, or he did not tell his wife. And the only way he was able to get caught. Let's get this. Ultimately, he had become, willing or unwillingly, he had become a double agent for the KGB. He was passing secrets onto them. And in return, apparently what the Soviets did was they gave him special privileges. I would presume they paid him, but they also gave him the ability to come in and out of Soviet Union without any restrictions. Now remember, this is like height of Cold War, 1970s, beginning of the 80s. Very difficult for foreigners to just come in and out of the Soviet Union like that. But here's one very interesting thing that we uncovered in our research. They also allowed him, or rather they turned a blind eye to him, smuggling out Russian icons. Do you know what icons are?
No.
So icons are very, very fascinating. They are religious ornaments. They are painted on wood, pictures of the Mother Mary, of Jesus Christ, and different saints, and they're painted in gold leaf on these icons. So Russia has had a long-standing prohibition. Any icon over 100 years old can't be exported without prior approval. But, these are very, very expensive, very highly sought-after things. So he was basically allowed to just smuggle them out and I guess sell them off somewhere.
Wow, he must be minted then.
I hope so, because he spent 10 years in jail for all this. But we'll come back to that. He got caught at the Finnish border for smuggling icons out.
So you could say he was finished.
Oh, God. Now it made me lose my hat. I think, shall we take off our hat? It's quite hot, isn't it?
Go for it.
Do you want to take off your hat?
Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Our hats are gone. Okay. I've got hat hair now. Okay.
Do I have had hair?
So this went on until February, when Wee was arrested in Helsinki by the Finnish police for smuggling. He later returned to Moscow and asked Luba to help him to stay there, as he could not face the scandal when he returned home. What do you think Luba did?
Not go home? He went home.
No, Luba didn't help. Obviously not, because now he's exposed and he's of no use to them.
Oh yeah.
So
she ghosted him.
She
like
ghosted him. This was like Tinder before Tinder was a thing. I mean, come on, that's incredible. So because of that, he came back to Singapore. He confessed his sins, and he was jailed for 10 years. 5 years for transmitting prohibited messages to the Russians, and 5 years for divulging the encryption for the cipher machines.
Isn't the traditional punishment for treason like execution or something?
Yes, but I think that's only in places when you have a king to be treasonous against, right? Or a queen to be treasonous against.
Well, at the time we had a queen. Oh, okay.
We know we did have a queen.
Yeah. So he got in prison for 10 years. Okay.
He got in prison for 10 years. And, because this was almost 45 years ago now, Alan Wee, wherever you are, wherever he is, must be about 75 by now. So it's a very old story. In mitigation, I just want to finish up by saying, Alan Wee said that Luba once referred to a smashed black Mercedes which was parked opposite his apartment. She told me that the same thing would happen to my wife and daughter, and I was shocked and asked her what she meant. She replied, and I'm going to do this in a very bad Russian accent, "Accidents in Moscow could be prearranged, and if you do not cooperate with us, the lives of your wife and daughter will be rearranged."
Wow.
That's a very bad Russian accent, but I'll save that just for you. Chilling, exactly, chilling.
Wow, terrible. Blackmailed and jailed, and yeah, I think we're very mindful that these are actual people, and he could well be alive.
Yep.
And listening to a podcast on Instagram.
About
yeah.
him. I hope he's had an uneventful, full life after that.